A very good morning to all present here. I extend a warm welcome to one and all to the 5th annual Indo-School Alumni Debate organized by the alumni of Our Lady Queen of the Mission School, Park Circus. An event we host every year because some connections are too precious to us, too precious to lose. Looking around this room, I see people who have taken different paths but share a common foundation. Have walked through schools gates just like these, sat in assemblies just like this one, and perhaps even participated that shape the way you think and speak today. How wonderful it is to see you return, not as students, but as the accomplished individuals you have become. An investment in pays the best interest, said Benjamin Franklin. And what better way competitions that is and bring about the best in us. Today's debate embodies this spirit, bringing together sharp minds, diverse perspectives, and the courage to engage in meaningful discourse. I commend all participants for stepping up to today's challenge, taking time out of your busy lives, juggling careers, families' responsibilities. To stand on this stage and debate takes courage. Whether you win or lose today, you have already won by showing up. I wish you all the very best, and may your school pride shine through. My heartfelt gratitude goes to Dr. Kunal Sarkar and Ms. Preeti Roy Chowdhury for graciously accepting to moderate the debate today's proceedings. Your expertise and wit will keep us all engaged, entertained, and perhaps even on the edge of our seats. A good moderator can turn a debate from good into unforgettable, and we feel truly honored to have you both with us. To our audience, friends, family, fellow alumni, and supporters, you are not just spectators today. Your reactions, your applause, your laughter, and yes, even your gaps of surprise, and all part of what makes you this event special. To sit back, enjoy the intellectual fireworks, and don't be shy about cheering for your favorites. We may now commence with the program of the day, with God's blessings on this gathering and every participant. We ask for your guidance, God Almighty, so that we might walk fully in your blessings and goodness today. May this, while we may disagree on many things, values our schools instilled in us, respect, and the courage to speak our truth. Let the best arguments win. Let friendship be strengthened. And let's make this 5th Indo-School Alumni Debate one of the best books. All the best to all the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. That was indeed a very motivating one for all of us. Well, let's begin without losing much time. All the participants have arrived, our judges, moderators all have arrived. I'll just make a short introduction of the judges and the moderators. We have Dr. Kunal Sarkar as one of the moderators. Sir, please come here. I don't know to start and where to end about Dr. Sarkar. I could say all of you know that he's a cardiologist and he has done hundreds of surgeries, given life to people. And most important that he's here. All our hearts are in the right place till now. So he's here as a passionate debater, moderator, who is all over the place moderating debates. I was trying to read about him yesterday. I said, no, it's too late to read because I couldn't keep anything in mind. Welcome, sir.
I'm a plumber who took too long to train.
That's too good, yes. Okay, we have our next moderator. She'll join the debate, the proceedings a little later. But our own homegrown girl, Miss Preeti Roy Chaudhary, she's our alumni. But. Please come here. Everybody should see you,
No,
Preeti.
can I ask Ma'am Chaudhary to be here? Please come. Please.
She is a TEDx speaker. She's the head of the Department of English of Calcutta International School. And most important, she's the alumni of Our Lady Queen of the Mission Spartacus. Preeti, we are very proud of you. And Preeti is always around to help us. Very, very ardent helper of the alumni committee. Well, let me come to the judges. We always say ladies first. Even this time I have to do ladies first because only one lady is there in the judge. So the two men can follow her. We have Miss Bulu Mukhopadhyay. Bulu, will you just stand up and just say hi? As one of our judges, she's the Associate Professor of English, Niwalipur College, Calcutta. We are very happy, we are very proud, and thank you for being here. Next, we have Professor Abhijit Gupta, Professor of English, Jadavpur University. Again, when I was trying to read about him, I was getting all mixed up. So many things he does. He's an English person, but he has, with Professor Shopon Chakraborty, even written books on history. And we also find that he takes a lot of interest in maintaining records and printing. Am I right, Dr. Gupta? He takes a lot of, and he has done a lot of research in these areas. Thank you, Professor Gupta, for being here. And we have, last but not least, our old friend, so I'm taking your name third, Mr. Pradeep Gupta, another enthusiastic debater who conducts debates, takes part in debates, and trains students also. Again, when I come to Pradeep Gupta, I can't take much time, but so much to say. From editor of business dailies, writing books, he's doing a lot of research. And he's a friend of Our Lady Queen of the Mission Spartacus Alumni Association. Whenever we turn to him, he very happily and gladly tells us, yes, I will surely come, though he's so hard-pressed on time. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I'm sure all of you will, all of us will have a lot to take back because Kolkata and Tram are synonymous and very close to our heart. But let's see how it spans out and what happens at the end. Now I would call at least one member from each school to come to the moderator's table and draw the lots. And the moderator will, I think both the speakers can come because the moderator will give you some instructions. Please do come. Give them a big hand. The rest of the audience, best of luck, participants. We have 6 schools.
So, Don Bosco, please draw your lot. I've had nothing to do with it, so don't blame me for anything. So, what's your number? 4. Reveal. 4. Which school? Don Bosco. Don Bosco is 4. Thanks. So, Saifi Golden Jubilee. Hi. Please draw a lot.
It's
3. Thanks.
Who's 3? Saifi.
Shushila Birla Girls High School. Hello. Please draw a lot. One. Oh, good.
Who's one?
We've got opening team. Well done. Shri Tram Napani Vidyalaya. How are you doing? 6. Great. The closing is okay. St. Xavier's Collegiate School. I've heard of this before. Yes. Thanks. 5. Right. So who's left? 2. You are 2. Right. So Our Lady, Queen of the Mission, 2. Good luck. Thank you. Let's settle down.
So you've given them the instruction about this.
So I'm just about to.
Can you share? अच्छा एक कनेक्ट
Extra chair दे दूँ ना मुझे टाइम की No, I think that is, if it makes simpler for you, the first team is Sushila Birla Girls High School. Second team is Our Lady, Queen of the Mission. Third school is Saifi Golden Jubilee. Fourth school is Don Bosco. Fifth school is St. Xavier's. And the sixth school is Dollar Ram Mapani Vidyalaya. You got it?
So the main business of the day begins. We begin with the debate and we are out of it. The moderators are there to moderate us and guide us and also give us directions. So it's all your moderators. And best of luck to the participants. Once again, please let's hear something and take back something today. Okay? And we also welcome Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya, the president of Calcutta Tram Users Association. Sir, we are more than happy that you have taken your time to come here. It's a real motivation for all of us. And with the kind of work we are doing, I think every Kolkatan is proud of you and probably will be saved in future with your work. Thank you so much.
Shoma, thank you very much. Can we just settle down?
Yes.
Please, yes. You see, the reason we are here today, of course, is this fantastic effort by the alumni of the school, who religiously every year organizes this inter-alumni debate. And I have a little fondness for women's institutions, not for the obvious reasons, but for the fact I happened to study in one of them for a period of 13 months, and when better wisdom prevailed, they threw me out, but I'm still conscripted as one of their alumni who will remain entirely anonymous. So the mere fact that I'm an alumni of a women's school, and as fortune would have it with the boys' school as well, that I remain a bit partial to this endeavor. But great effort, the effort Shoma, sister, all of you put in every year shows passion where it counts. The weather being good, myself, Preeti, we were in a very generous frame of mind this morning, so we felt that in recognition of adulthood, I'm not restricting to the reel's attention time of 3 to 4 minutes. We will give you about 6 minutes to speak. So you can have 1 more minute. If you really don't want to, then always remember silence is golden. So, but if you wish to think that 60 seconds will make a great difference to your contribution to civilization, please go ahead and speak on the topic. Otherwise, things are very simple. You've drawn your lots, you know your order of speaking. Whenever we have this team-based or a cluster-based debating, one disadvantage is that the people who speak first they are at a relative disadvantage because you've had nobody to rebut. So once again, in a tremendous act of benevolence, you'll be given 1 minute extra after everybody has spoken to concise yourself and come up with your rebuttals. It is up to the discretion of the judges, but I think what we generally do is that you may reserve your rebuttal points for the first till the end, because otherwise, the chronology has been a bit unfair to them. They don't have anybody to rebut. There is another debate happening outside. If we can tone down the volume, because otherwise, in another 10 minutes, people will think that this is an 8 o'clock television program where there is a chorus happening. The only problem being, in that chorus, everybody sings a different song. They are not singing the same song. So 6 minutes speaking time. The opening team will get a minute extra. All of you know the topic. Pretty, anything from your side to add?
No, sir, not at the moment. Just waiting for them to place them.
Please don't call me sir repeatedly, because my wife reminds me every morning how old I am. And you see, the mere reason, there are enough teachers in the audience. There's one beside me, I'm dreadfully scared. Because the only reason we ever took to debating, a very fundamental reason, all of you must remember, is because the Jesuits never allowed us to speak in class. And later on, the wives never allowed us to speak at home. So people like us needed somewhere to vent ourselves. Every nonsense which is collecting inside needs to be articulated, and hence we developed this bad habit. So on that note, I think all of you know the motion, very topical, very focused, and I think without much ado, so 5 minutes, ma'am. Ma'am, we haven't introduced you, sorry.
Good morning, everyone. Respected judges, Sir Preeti. I am Chami Shanawaz, again an alumni from Kolkata Mission. So, without any delay, we begin. Thank you.
Chandni, thank you, and please make it absolutely clear. Any grievance regarding time is addressed to Chandni. Any grievance, the only reason she got the job is they tell she's completely incorruptible. It's a very uncommon accolade in this state. Doesn't happen very often. It is almost regarded to be a disease. So, on that note, and anything to do with the marking is the responsibility of the three people. You may take their GPS locations, phone numbers, or whatever, and any retribution that may happen after the event, you won't get me anyway because my flight is drawing nearer. But please settle it mutually. No repercussions on either the school or the debate organizers. On that note, I'm sure none of it will happen. Good luck to all of you. And once again, all of you who made this event possible. And on that note, I think we invite Ms. Poimonti Gupta from Shushila Birla Girls High School to open the debate. And Calcutta Trams needs to be revitalized. Poimonti, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. Honorable moderators, respected judges, my fellow speakers, and the audience, good morning. What's the first thing that comes to mind when we think about the word tram? We think of black and white pictures, empty streets, people filled in those trams and moving from one point to the other. It also evokes feelings of heritage, nostalgia, and a sense of calmness. But at this moment, Kolkata does not really face a heritage crisis. What it faces is pollution crisis. And that's exactly where we bring today's topic to place. And I shall begin here by saying that why tram revitalization is one of the effective ways to fight pollution in our city. One of the first points would be the tram revitalization leads to a cleaner urban transport system. A research by the Renewable Energy Agency has found that 20 to 30% of India's urban pollution is caused by the urban transport system. Trams automatically they run on the electricity, thus leading to zero tailpipe emission. On the other hand, diesel-run buses, auto rickshaws, or even private vehicles automatically lead to harmful emissions of poisonous gases. At present, Kolkata is also ranking amongst one of the highest cities which has a poor air quality. Trams also significantly reduces the traffic congestion, which is another source of pollution. It has been seen that traffic congestion caused by standing vehicles emit 3 times more the harmful gases compared to what is emitted by a moving vehicle. Trams with fixed routes and predictable schedule draw people away from using their private vehicles and depending more upon the public modes of transport, such as trams. Lower congestion leads to lesser fuel consumption and it eventually leads to a lower pollution level. At present, trams are also an inclusive and affordable public transport. It is affordable for the students, for the elderly citizens, the daily wage earners, as well as the people under the low income group. Pollution disproportionately impacts the low income group more because they sadly don't have or they cannot afford pollution management technologies such as the air purifiers, for instance. Revitalizing the trams will automatically ensure an environmental justice and make it comfortable for them to access trams. Mass adoption of trams will eventually reduce the real pollution source. Lastly, energy efficiency and long-term sustainability is also something that has been seen if we use trams. Lesser fuel consumption along with other resources that trams utilize ensure that trams have a longer lifespan of 40 to 50 years. On the other hand, other public modes of transport such as buses need a regular maintenance and probably last only say 10 to 15 years. To sum up, I feel that tram revitalization is going to lead to a more cleaner, cheaper, inclusive and sustainable choice, and therefore I strongly stand in favor of my motion that tram revitalization is definitely one of the ways in which we can reduce the pollution in Kolkata. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you for sticking to time. You didn't trouble me at all. She was very comfortable, right? Very, very important points made, and I think that has been a very apt opening to the conversation. You know, when I started my work in London, I was working in a hospital just next door to the Paddington station. And I used to ferry in and out of the Paddington Underground. At that stage, I realized that was the point where one of the first underground trains started in London. And yeah, there will be. Yeah. Don't worry, I have debated before. It doesn't look as if, but I have. I'm just giving them an anecdote, slightly different from a rebuttal. So, the points you have raised, more than a century back, different geographies have gone through the same arguments, but extremely valuable points made, and your friend has a job cut out for her. So we ask Manushi Sangvi Bayani to come. Manushi, the floor is yours. Your friend has given us very ample food for thought, and you need to take it on.
Thank
Hello. Reviving tram routes to fight pollution is like reinstalling landline phones to improve communication. Nostalgic, reliable in their but no longer well fitted to a fast mobile world. A very good morning to my esteemed judges, honorable chairpersons, and my esteemed opponents. I, Mansi Sangvi Bhayani, from Sheila Birla Girls' School, stand here against the motion that calls for revitalization of trams in Kolkata to manage pollution. What do we understand from the term revitalization? Repaired, upgraded, expanded, or restarted. Pollution in Kolkata specifically is not transport dominated. Major polluting sources are construction dust, diesel generator, industrial emission. Transport contributes only 20 to 25% of the pollution in the city. Let me begin by saying this clearly. This debate is not about nostalgia, it is about practicality, efficiency, and the future of urban mobility in a city already stretched beyond its limits. Kolkata today is a dense, fast moving metropolis struggling with congestion, limited road space, a rising transportation demand. In such a scenario, reviving trams, a system designed over a century ago, is not progress but regression. First, let us talk about road congestion. Trams operate on fixed tracks and move at extremely low speeds. In today's traffic conditions, they occupy valuable road spaces while carrying comparatively fewer passengers than buses or metros or trains. Instead of easing congestion, trams block intersections, delay emergency vehicles, and slow down overall traffic flow. Second, there is the issue of cost and infrastructure. Revitalizing trams is not as simple as repainting coaches or restoring routes. It involves huge expenditure on tracks, power systems, depots, maintenance, all for a system that offers limited flexibility. The same funds, if invested in electric buses, metros, expansion, or smart traffic management, would benefit far more citizens. Third, let us consider efficiency and time. In a city where people travel long distances for work, education, and healthcare, speed matters. Trams are slow, stop frequently, and cannot adapt to route changes. In contrast, modern public transport systems are faster, scalable, and responsive to real time demand. Supporters of the motion often argue that trams are eco friendly, while may be true in theory. But they have much better and cleaner alternatives like electric buses, CNG vehicles, and metro rails, which are both environmentally responsible and operationally efficient. Another argument is heritage and culture. Yes, trams are a symbol of Kolkata's past, present, and will be there in the future. But cities must preserve heritage without sacrificing functionality. Museums, heritage parks, and limited tourist tram routes can celebrate the history of Kolkata, but daily urban transport cannot run the sentiment alone. Respectability moves forward not by clinging out to outdated systems, but by embracing innovation. Revitalizing trams may sound romantic, but romance cannot solve real traffic problems. Instead of investing in slow, rigid, and space consuming systems, Kolkata needs future ready solutions. Efficient public transport, smart, sustainable, yet practical mobility. For these, I firmly stand against the motion. Just to like to mention, how many of us here actually use to research on this project, on this debate? I use ChatGPT, guys. Thank you so much. Signing off, Mansi Sangvi Bhayani, Sushila Birla, Girls' School.
Very, very, very forcefully spoken, Mansi, very passionately spoken. And I'm very encouraged because the central theme, as I took it, apart from everything you said about Tram, etc., you sincerely believe Kolkata has a future. So I think that really enthuses all of us. Very well spoken.
Actually, when I saw the topic, I have a confession to make. I was wondering what is there to argue about, because we are all heavily overdosed on nostalgia and heritage. I just love the trams. So I was wondering what would be the argument on the other side. And yes, Bhante, you did speak of some very uncomfortable truths. And I think this whole thing of revitalization needs to be looked at very, very carefully, and not doing away with the trams, but looking at it as an urban transport mechanism, that bringing it back that way. Thank you so much. That fabulous bringing to the debate by Sushila Birla.
Ma'am, I'd like to just say something.
Sure.
It's her first time and my second time, and the last time Dr. Kunal was there, and he really motivated us to come. So I'm here second time,
Oh,
and it's her
that's
first time.
wonderful. A special round of applause for that. That's a special moment indeed. Thank you.
Very well done.
So the connections are visible now. Okay, we'll call upon now the home team. So my happiness to call upon Vivekananda Gupta from Our Lady Queen of the Missions, who will speak for the motion.
I'll take a call. Okay, yeah, I think I can reach. Good morning, respected judges, dear moderators, my fellow speakers, and the beautiful audience. Manasi, she was very, very articulate when she said that trams is a heritage relic. It should be relegated to the past, just like a black telephone. And the pollution that is happening in the city is because of construction, dust, and industrial. Manasi, can I ask you, in our state right now, where do you find an industry that industrial waste would be generated? We will talk about that a little more later. So moving on, I'm speaking for the motion that tram routes need to be revitalized in the city to manage pollution. So trams are a part of Bengal culture. It is integrated in songs, literature, and is an important fabric of our city life. মহিনের ঘোড়াগুলি famously wrote, শহরের উষ্ণতম দিনে পিচ গলা রোদ্দুরে বৃষ্টির বিশ্বাস তোমায় দিলাম, পুরনো আর কি দিতে পারি, পুরনো মিছিলে পুরনো ট্রামেদের সারি. The tramways, which were designed more than a century back, had meticulous planning, factoring in how to manage the pollution of the city. This eco-friendly urban transport with low emissions and high energy efficiency makes it a top choice for Kolkata, focused on clean air and to promote green mobility. Having said that, it also has to be recognized that the network has to be revived, expanded, modernized, and well integrated with metro and bus services across the city. Kolkata, once the custodian of Asia's oldest tramways, now finds its system at a crossroad. With only a few trams operating on two limited routes, Route 5 and Route 25, the network is often dismissed as a heritage relic. Tramways should be integrated with the expanded metro system to create a comprehensive zero-emission urban transit system. Like a lot of times, the same thing is coming that trams take up a lot of space, but we don't remember that trams can be sophisticated. Nowadays, there are trackless trams, which are already running in many cities in China and in Australia, which can integrate very smoothly with the other transport like train, buses and cabs. The fact that it is a zero-emission vehicle and can use renewable energy to power itself makes it the most favored urban transport system in modern times. The more tram routes we create with greater passenger comfort, it will attract more riders, which will reduce the dependency of cars and buses on the road, leading to less pollution. The latest national urban transport policy recognizes the challenges of traffic congestion in Indian cities due to the massive increase in vehicles while road spaces remain largely the same. That's the reason we should have more sophisticated trams with rubber tires, which do not require an overhead line to operate. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the traffic nightmare in the office para, chock-a-block with bikes and the argument that the dedicated tram line takes too much space no longer holds merit. Like I already said, in China and in Australia, trams, which do not need elevated heavy duty infrastructure, which is another perk of having more tram routes. While exiting Shialda or we always face a mayhem. How about introduction of tram routes which can act as a catalyst for urban regeneration and development around the station and airport precincts? Railway engineer Indranil Banerjee, I will quote him. He says that Kolkata has the opportunity to revitalize the tram network, especially in areas where bus services are limited. Naysayers often argue that tram lines create congestion on the road, right? I'm sure there will be other naysayers saying the same thing. But recently, Center of Science and Environment compared the routes where tram lines have been removed with those with tram lines, and it did not find much difference in the congestion level. In the union budget of 2026, a significant budget has been allocated for managing tram pollution. And what is the best transport system to manage pollution? It is tramways with zero emission. It's a zero emission genius. Nowadays, we are gung-ho about the electric vehicles. But the first electric vehicle was there already in the city in 1902, crisscrossing the town without any carbon footprint. With the AQI level of Kolkata at an unhealthy 199, I think we should reintroduce tram routes, revitalized tram routes, which has no type emissions. Urban mobility cautions that the city cannot afford to abandon its tramways, especially since the global trend is moving towards a sustainable transport. To rejuvenate is the need of the hour. It is all in the intent. Do we actually want to reduce the pollution in the city? If so, we have the solution right in front of our face, right in front of our eyes, and we still keep ignoring it. It reminds me of two lines. দেখা হয় নাই চক্ষু মেলিয়া হতে শুধু দুপা ফেলিয়া একটি ধানের শিশির উপরে একটি শিশির বিন্দু. Saying that, could the neglect of tramways be a step backward for Kolkata's climate conscious travel? Let me end by asking my detractors, do you still think that we shouldn't revitalize the tram routes to reduce the carbon footprint in our city, or should we just romanticize about it? Thank you so much.
It's extremely rare, that in a debate regarding tramways, we've had a lot of poetry. And especially, I think if you have any old hats from Jadavpur over here, Mohine Gohagurali in Jadavpur, in the pivotal area of Gautam Chattopadhyay makes a lot of sense. Does take you back in time.
I had to say that, Mohine.
Absolutely. But this is Jadavpur. I stay in Bhawanipur. We are discussing about trams. Do remember that Jivanananda Das was struck by one. So honestly, that doesn't mean it exactly happened. It happens a few hundred yards from where I stay. When Jivanananda very mysteriously, God knows how, he gets struck by a tram. He's taken to Shumana Kundit Hospital. He struggled there for days before he succumbed. But such a lot of poetry in a tramways debate. Well done, Queen. So let's hope there is more poetry to come.
Tahmina Riyaz, Queen Commissions will now take the floor against the motion.
When the air is choking, sentiments cannot be the cure. Respected moderators, honorable judges, my worthy opponents, a very good morning to one and all. I am Tahmina Riyaz, an alumna of Our Lady, Queen of the Mission School, and today I rise against the motion. Tram routes in Kolkata needs to be revitalized to manage pollution in the city. Ladies and gentlemen, Kolkata is gasping. The air is heavy. The urgency is real. So let me begin with a simple question. When a city is suffocating, do we reach for memories or for solutions? According to the World Health Organization, over 90% of urban air pollution comes from not one source, but from a industrial activities, construction dust, and energy production. So tell me, how can reviving trams fight a problem this vast, this complex, this modern? Nostalgia may warm hearts, but it does not clean the air. Supporters of this motion calls tram green. But sustainability is not a slogan, it's a process. Revitalizing tram routes demands road excavation, steel manufacturing, and cement production. And Global Cement Concrete Association reminds us that cement production alone contributes nearly 8% of global carbon dioxide emission. So I ask, name of progress truly be called a progress itself? And the story does not end there. Trams runs on electricity. But in many developing countries, including ours, that electricity is still generated from coal and fossil fuels. If smoke disappears from our streets only to rise from power plants, have we cleaned the air or merely shifted the blame? Now imagine this scene. A tram slows, traffic freezes, engine idle, horns screams, smoke thickens. A city fighting pollution cannot afford emotional solution, only effective ones. Ladies and gentlemen, is congestion a solution or a silent accomplice? At a time when Kolkata needs electric buses, cleaner energy, expanded metro lines, and strict emission laws, should Kolkata invest in flexible, future-ready solutions or anchor ourselves in the past? Future cannot be built by breathing yesterday's air. Pollution does not respect nostalgia. The climate does not wait for sentiment. And the future will not forgive hesitation. So today, I choose logic over longing, science over sentiments, progress over preservation, and I stand firmly, confidently, and unapologetically against the motion. A solution that looks green but performs grey is not progress. It is postponement. Thank you.
Navima, I think you've introduced an extremely, please take your seat, an extremely critical element in this debate, that are we just shifting goalposts over here? Are we just shifting the blame from the right hand to the left? Very important point. When we analyze respiratory diseases, when we look at diseases caused by pollution, the true traffic pollution in an urban atmosphere is about 30%. Is about 30% of the component. And honestly speaking, even in the ecstasy of the trade deal, you don't want sounding like the great prophet Donald Trump. But actually, there is no, actually still, if you look at the larger ecology, there is no production of energy at all possible without at the environmental cost. Because any energy that is extracted from the environment, geography, has to have. So the mere concept of progress through energy consumption will come in an environment. The place varies, the geography varies, the pollutant varies. So brilliant. I think congratulations for introducing this motion. And I think the job is cut out for the next year.
St. Xavier's, it's your turn next. St. Xavier's Collegiate School.
Within the top. The rebuttal. Yes, got it. What is it?
So, calling upon from St. Xavier's, number 3. Oh, I'm so sorry. It is Sefi. Yes, Sefi Golden Jubilee Public School. My bad. Alifia Akhtar. Yes.
Okay. So you speak for 5 minutes, 1 minute, that's you compose your speech.
Thank you so much, sir.
You have a total of 6 minutes.
Okay. Hello. Progress is impossible without change. And those who change their mind cannot change anything. Hey, good morning to everybody present here. I'm Alifia Akhtar, a proud student of Sefi Hall School from batch 2022. And today I rise here firmly for the motion on the graphic, as you all can see. Tram routes in Kolkata need to be revitalized to manage pollution. And today, I am standing here not as a debater, but as a citizen who breathes the same air as you do. Let me begin with a question. When our city already owns greenest urban transport system, why are we allowing it to fade away? As someone clearly mentioned, Kolkata is ranking among the most polluted metropolitan city, touching 213 AQI in winters. And research have also said this, that trams are the greenest urban transport system compared to any other transport system. And the reason because of this pollution rising, who's the culprit? The petrol and diesel transport. Let me frame this for everybody present here. Would you rather have 40 individual cars emitting smokes or one tram carrying large number of passengers? Who would you choose? I guess the answer is very obvious. And I know since a lot of my worthy opponents may come up with this point and have come up with this point of congestion and how it's going to cost a lot of money in the roads infrastructure, then let me tell you, Center Science and Environment have clearly stated this. Also, someone mentioned this point, that only 6% of Kolkata's land is under road. So let me tell you, then how come only trams are in the reason why we are having, or they are the reason for congestion? Also talking about the infrastructure and how much money it's going to cost, I would like to say this, that revitalizing tram routes is far more cost effective than any other ways, and it's better than widening of roads. Also, I would like to state this. Yesterday, while researching about this topic, I came across this fact that West Bengal government have stated and put this point in front of Calcutta High Court government that they want to revise 7 tram routes.
Let me repeat this again, 7 tram routes. So when our West Bengal recognized the need to revive tram routes, what justification do we need to oppose them? Also, as a student, it's quite too personal for me that in 2024, I met with an accident while commuting to college by bus. And that reminds me how an unsafe transport system is not just statistic, it's live reality for all of us sitting here. And I strongly believe that trams are far more cheaper, affordable, they are predictable, and they are safe. Because yesterday I was also researching how many accidents we had with trams and how many accidents we have with buses and other transport. That when a thorn prick us, we cut the thorns. We don't remove the roots of the plants. So that way, likewise, I would like to put this way, that when a system has flaws, wisdom lies in correction. Less to fuel of words regarding nostalgic, emotion, fantasizing has been used. So to that, I would like to say just about how nostalgic we are for emotional and fact that is backed about live reality that states how Berlin, Paris, Amsterdam's are investing their whole money and their economy in having tram routes, but we are already having it. So the solution to this is, in fact, recently I've also researched about Geneva that they have done an experiment where they have temporarily removed the cost so that more people uses it, and it actually worked. We can either choose progress or we can either choose smoke. We can either choose a excuse or we can either choose a future. With this, I would like to leave this with a question to all the audience in the house, that when your future generation will ask you that why you chose smoke over senses, then what will be your answer? We are confusing regression as we are confusing age with relevance. Progress is not about what works. Progress is about what's new and how it can be modified, because we are the new generation. Thank you very much.
Olivia, I think with a lot of regret, I think it was Vivekananda Rai who made one secretary who once commented that obviously Calcutta is probably a story of urban management failures. That when the British planned the roads, they landed wide enough for 2 horses to pass. That perhaps you can see in North Calcutta. And in India, which political parties they were in when they planned the road, they widened it enough so that a procession of 500 people can pass through it. So that has been, sadly, as you very wisely pointed out, that very fundamental deficiencies in urban management. You raised the question of Paris, Berlin, etc. I'm sure you noted the recent Bombay municipal elections that happened. A lot of hoo-ha happened over it. The municipal budget of Mumbai is about 25 times the municipal budget of Kolkata. So this is the disparity. You don't have to look to Berlin or Paris or Geneva or London right now. Just look within India. What is happening? What is the resource allocation for cities like Bangalore, for cities like Mumbai is way ahead. Mumbai is like, for us, on an economic scale, it's a different country. We don't perhaps even in the same continent right now. So in the same country, so-called metropolitan cities, you have 25 times disparities in urban municipality earning capacity in budget. That is perhaps extremely important.
Thank you, Olivia, for stating your case and now calling upon Farheen Ahmed to contest those points.
Last winter, on several days, Kolkata's air was labelled unsafe to breathe. Note, not unpleasant, not uncomfortable, unsafe. And today we are debating whether reviving a heritage transport system is the solution. Respected judges, respected moderators, respected alumni, and my worthy opponents, a very, very warm good morning. And I'm Farheen Ahmed, representing FE Hall, and I'm from the batch 2012. So, while I begin, I would like to put one point across that this motion is compelling because it wraps itself in nostalgia. It offers us the comforting belief that by reviving something old, familiar, emotionally cherished, we can solve something which is complex, modern, and dangerous. This debate is not about romanticism, it's about effectiveness, scalability, and impact. I firmly stand against the motion, not out of disregard for history, but because revitalizing tram roads very well recently, the AQI. On many winter days, Kolkata's AQI reached almost 300, sometimes even beyond it in certain areas. So, any solution must answer the question, what will measurably bring it down? Under India's National Clean Air Program, Kolkata's particulate matter 2.5 reduced 21.5% between 2019 and 2020-24. Now, this came from cleaner fuel standards, electric and CNG buses, traffic regulation, dust control measures, and many other methods that were used. This tells us something very important. Targeted scientific interventions work, and trams were not a significant contributor to that progress. Pollution policy must be judged by measurable impact, not by symbolic need. Now, let me examine the most ignored word in this motion, which is revitalize, I feel. This does not mean gently restoring, or as my worthy opponent said, simply painting the trams. It means digging up roads, relaying tracks again, reinstalling wirings, and redesigning the intersections. In Kolkata, this means years of constructions across already congested corridors. We have recently, during the metro construction, seen a lot of dust clouds, diversions, traffic jams, idling engines, and rising pollution. Just imagine commuting throughout the city on those days. Construction dust is one of the largest contributors to particulate pollution in the city. So in the name of reducing pollution, we would increase it for 5 to 10 years before any benefit appears. Now, I would like to ask you one question. Do we cure a patient by first worst disease? We don't, right? Even if revitalization succeeds, we must confront urban reality. Kolkata is a dense, organically grown city with very narrow roads comparatively. Dedicated tram corridors, often cited in European or international country examples, they require space that we do not have. We cannot copy the transport model without copying the geography of a place. Creating exclusive tram lanes means removing spaces from autos, buses, and other public commutes that we have, and from pedestrians, and increasing the congestion somewhere else. Then comes a very, very important thing, which is opportunity cost. Every rupee spent on tram is a rupee not spent on electric buses, metro expansion, on scientific dust suppressions, or any other solution that already shows scale and speed. Ridership data confirms this reality. People overwhelmingly choose bus and metros over trams at very similar fares. When pollution is urgent and resources are so limited, the city must prioritize what delivers the fastest and largest. As human beings, we often fall into what we psychologists call as cognitive ease, a tendency to choose solutions that are existing around us, that appeal to our comfort. It feels intuitive and it feels respectful of history. But ease is not same effectiveness. Let me be very, very clear. I am not anti-heritage. We are just pro-effective policy. This is also not a system that can be revived just with a flip of a switch. Massive public investment, years of construction, redesigning already narrow roads, and resolving deep urban congestion, all before any benefit is even seen. Commuter behavior tells us clearly. Today, Kolkata's trams carry roughly 5 to 7,000 passengers a day. Metro carries over 7 lakh passengers a day. It is because the people are not rejecting heritage, they are choosing speed, reliability, and capacity. If a commuter wants to travel from Esplanade to Salt Lake, for me being example, I would always choose a metro which is just under my house and would take me there in 15 minutes rather than waiting and sitting on a tram which would take me there in double the amount of time. Public transport succeeds not on charm, but on efficiency. And as you listen to the debate today, I invite you to notice something. Many speakers have and will be defending trams. Many will invoke heritage, emotion, idealized foreign models, but very few will return again to the exact words of the motion, revitalizing tram routes to manage pollution. Because once we start focusing on these words, the argument will begin to collapse under its own weight. Heritage can be preserved, but public health cannot be postponed. So I urge you, with both heart and reason, to stand strongly as I stand unapologetically against the motion. Thank you so much. I rest my case.
Very well spoken, very concise, very sharp. Talking about, buses, metros and trams. The other day, a pretty simple man, who used to be a bus conductor in a Howrah-Shialda route, came to consult me with the typical chest pain and all these problems. I hadn't even realized, listening to this book, that ever since the metro link has been opened up, virtually all the bus routes have evaporated. And the people who were working in that, who were engaged in the bus drivers, bus conductors, the various occupation in that bus route between Shialda to Howrah, is literally, the entire community of people in the transport sector has really been wiped out. Extremely well spoken.
Calling upon the next team, that's Don Bosco Circus. You will hear the voices of gentlemen for the first time in this debate. The ladies have been dominating it for almost an hour now. So calling upon Shubhi Chakraborty from Don Bosco Street.
So good to hear a gentleman speaker. Well done, well done.
Lend me your lungs. I come not to romanticize the past, but to question the present. The air we breathe today is heavier than memory, dirtier than neglect. We are told this is the price of growth. We are told congestion is inevitable. We are told pollution is seasonal. But the truth is simpler and much more uncomfortable. Kolkata today is officially a non-attainment city, which means by law, by data, by evidence, failed the basic test of a modern city, which is to provide clean air for its residents. So, when a city fails, it must not ask whether to change. It must ask how soon. And that is why today, I proudly stand before you, speaking for the motion, tram routes in Kolkata need to be vitalized to manage the pollution in the city. Let me start with the rebuttals. The teams that spoke before me, they came up with some puerile arguments. Let me address them generically and then individually. Trams slow traffic, really speed. Let's compare the average speed of a tram, 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. What is the average speed of traffic in Kolkata, Bangalore, Delhi, Hyderabad? Any guesses? 15 to 20 kilometers per hour. Your fast car is not looking that great compared to trams, is it? The harsh truth is cars and buses slow traffic. The trams reveal that congestion, do not create it. Number two, trams are outdated, and yet surprisingly, they are more modern than your urban transports. As somebody said, they run on electricity, have zero emissions, smoother, less noise pollution, and have more efficiency in moving more people per square meter. Number three, roads are too narrow, expand them, it's gonna incur costs. Cost of building metros, cost of setting up EV infrastructure is gonna cost much more than revitalizing trams. Now let me come to the arguments individually. The first team said other sources of pollution, and I'll address this in my constructive speech. They said, vehicles 20, 25%, there's so many other things, but even reducing 20 to 25% of urban air pollution is gonna be a big relief for citizens. Somebody spoke about introducing public transport systems to manage pollution. Tram is a public transport system which is running on electricity with zero emissions. They missed that part. Somebody spoke about electricity coming from fossil fuels and coal. Every electricity that you're using today, majority comes from fossil fuels and coal. But that doesn't mean we abandon progress. Electricity can be generated from renewable sources of electricity. Wind energy, solar energy, hydro energy. They don't address that. Finally, the third team, they mentioned 2019 to 2024, pollution had decreased. And the time that had happened does not mention trams anywhere. Of course it won't. Trams have not been revitalized yet, and that is what we are debating. They compare metros to trams, comparing two different things together. So, with those out of the way, let me focus on my constructive speech. I'm going to keep it very simple. 3 parts. I'm going to talk about trams, I'm going to talk about pollution, and I'll let you establish the connection between the two. People calling trams forget. In 1873, trams were drawn by horses. Then came electrification in 1900s. And modernization continued to happen from standard gauge to meter gauge, all of that happened. In 1951, post-independence, things unfortunately went into a decline. West Bengal government took over the management of trams, and the rest, as we know, is history. So, trams didn't fail us. Our policies, our government failed the trams. There's a difference. Why do we need to revitalize trams? All the teams, the speakers speaking for, have already given you those reasons. Zero emissions, running on electricity, low cost for demographic who cannot afford expensive cars, low noise pollution, smoother rides, more efficiency. I will not go into those points anymore. Those are no-brainers. But who benefits? And that is the key point. Have you ever tried booking an Ola and Uber for your parents? Can your parents book an Ola and Uber by themselves? They cannot. But they find extreme comfort in getting on a tram. Buses aren't safe for them. They will not pay for cabs. Trams is for that demographic. Kolkata, a city which has 50% of the population who are senior citizens living by themselves, unfortunately alone, trams is the source of their transport. Trams offer daily commuters efficient and timely reaching the targets of destination. It provides students a cheap means of transport. It provides the historically, economically disenfranchised with a 5 rupee or a 10 rupee ticket to be able to move from point A to point B. So let's leave our individual privileges aside and come down to the ground. Point number 2, which is about pollution. I mentioned Kolkata is a non-attainment city. What that means is that it has failed to meet even India's legally prescribed air quality standards. And that's really, really sad. Kolkata's pollution ranks among highest in the cities of the country and even the world. It's not a perception anymore. It's a reality. It's not seasonally or occasionally high. It's consistently high. It's a disease. And my team members on side opposition will come up with different statistics, choose agencies and reports which try to bolster their claim saying, no, vehicular emission is 20%, 25%. More comes from construction dust, industrial pollutions. Whichever data you choose, whichever source you choose, 20 to 25% of pollution comes from vehicular emissions. That is a fact, even they will admit. 2017 MDPI study said that pollution came mostly from transportation. Somebody quoted Center for Science and Environment. They called Kolkata the diesel capital because 45% of oil consumption is for diesel. 65% of new cars are diesel. 99% of commercial vehicles are diesel. The National Clean Air Program makes it mandatory for Kolkata to implement the changes today. And do you know what the number one focus area for that is? Transportation. And now we come to the no-brainer part. If transport emission is a key reason for Kolkata's air pollution, then electrified mass transit system is the solution. If pollution is the disease choking Kolkata, then abandoning trams is like letting go of that one medicine that we already have, understand, and trust. Revitalizing trams is not going backward, but moving forward to a future that is safe for our future children and grandchildren. A city that wants breathable air must invest in this collective development for trams and not sit with our individual privileges. A city that kills its trams has already surrendered to pollution. So today, before I end, I ask you all to choose with your lungs. Revitalize the trams, not for nostalgia, heritage, all that is great and good, but for the right to breathe, for our right to breathe. My name is Subhi Chakraborty. Thank you so much.
I think your point about choosing with the lungs, very well taken. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. It is very true that, that the Indian lungs are at a great peril, because as we discuss a lot of fashionable diseases and preventive medicine, India has made a total nuisance of trying to fight diseases like tuberculosis. It's still very much rampant in our country, very much rampant. And we have seen that what pollution is doing to childhood asthma. So a friend of mine who was engaged in all this SIR business, I told him, why are you going through all this nonsense? Anybody with a COPD and diabetes should be automatically considered to be a genetic Indian. You do not need to go through all this rigmarole. So if you have a shorty pair of lungs and pretty miserable kind of blood sugar, then I think our identity is beyond dispute. But as we choose with our lungs, I think Preeti will call our next speaker.
Yes. It is Honorable Zaman from Don Bosco speaking against the motion.
Yesterday happened to be a special day for me. And that was our anniversary. So I took my wife to K.C. Das just to have some saviors. So by that time, my old friend gave me a call. Hey, are you prepared? So what I did, to have a real life, I coaxed my wife, let's take a tram from Esplanade to Park Circus, where I stay. And after a bit of a coaxing, my wife agreed. And here I am, jumping from a real life to a world of nostalgia. Respectable Mr. Chairman, sir, honorable judges, members of the august audience. The world of nostalgia, way back, as a kid, when I held my father's arms and I tried to pop on the tram, nothing has changed. Not the tram, not the roads, nothing. One thing has changed, only one thing. Number of people, 7 to 8, mainly elderly, mainly above 60. I was caught in a world of nostalgia. I was caught in the world, did not know where exactly I am, past, present, or future. As I was in that world of nostalgia, thinking about the topic, trying to connect the dots, suddenly the tram stopped. What had happened? As I would interpret it, it was a dislocation of the trolley pole. As usual, the conductor just had the time to get out of the tram to repair that. By that time, I could feel countless buses, carts, chaos and confusion reigning supreme, and honking of the roads, emission of the toxic exhaust gases and particulate matters. And by that time, I could feel, yes, not only the air pollution, but the sound pollution reigning supreme. Might be many of the things I've thought. Many of the, well, trams are there in Europe. I myself had the privilege of riding the tram during my trip in Switzerland in Bern. But ladies and gentlemen, let's compare an apple to an apple. Let's not compare an apple to a pineapple. Be it the population, be it the infrastructure as far as the roads are concerned, be it the infrastructure as far as the tram is concerned. I'm still in the tram. My wife is a bit furious. She's thinking, well, I've missed my evening serials. And I, being the better half, thought of keeping a silence. But my thoughts was wondering, and I was thinking some other day that previously, when I used to get down at Howrah platform, I used to take a bus. That happened a week before. And bus or a cab, after a long line, I would reach my house at after an hour or after some 45 to 50 minutes. Courtesy today, metros, I can tell you the best thing. I get down at Howrah station, catch hold of a metro, get down at Shialda, catch hold of a suburban train, get down at Park Circus. And believe it or not, it takes me 20 minutes. By the time I tell my wife, which I do every time I'm on a tour, I have reached Howrah, and by the time I reach home, it takes me 20 minutes. So, once again, re-establishing my fact that what should we really live in the past, or should we really think of revitalization trams, and or should we really think of moving in the future and using that component to revitalize and to expand and to improve the suburban railways, metros, electric buses, where one can really feel that yes, time needs to go on and one needs to take time from nostalgia to practicality. At last, I have managed to get down at Park Circus tram stoppage, much to the relief of my wife. And I thought of one thing. Albert Einstein rightly said, you cannot solve a problem with the same thinking we used when we created them. Ladies and gentlemen, one of my fellow participants had said that the Union West Bengal Budget 2026 had told about the revivals and the modernization of the trams. I do not know whether I had heard it right or whether I had heard it wrong. But one thing I can say, nothing has been put on the news yet. If it is, I think it's just a thought, a dream which will never come into action. As Kekule rightly said, it is good to dream. It was a dream that let Kekule invent the benzing ring. But once the dream is changed into a reality, it's no more a dream. Ladies and gentlemen, please come out of your dreams. Face the reality. Thank you.
Anirudh, well done, very well spoken. First of all, our belated best wishes on the anniversary.
And we hope she got to see the series.
Yeah, and it's good, he's still pretty enthusiastic about it. I think that is probably the good news that comes with it. And Anirudh, you said that you referred to the fact how archaic the tram maintenance mechanisms are. Such maladies can be seen anywhere. This poor man crashed in Baramati the other day, where people were really conducting the landing and takeoff of private planes literally on visual control. Right? Stupidity is probably irrespective of technology. It can happen anywhere, neglect and stupidity, if you allow it to happen. If the rich and the mighty on a private aircraft is landing and taking off, depending on auditory and visual control, God save us.
As the debate is intensive, I think we are going to be presented with these choices at the end of the debate. So the audience, you will have a job at the end to let us know which side has convinced you more emphatically. So calling upon team number 5, that's St. Xavier's Collegiate School, Terence Mann, speaking for the motion.
Good morning to all. Very respected moderators, beloved and most respected Kunalda, as a very may add, and to the jury, the most respected jury, and especially to Debashish Da, possibly the father of the tram preservation and restoration movement in Kolkata. So wonderful to have you with us, Devashish. I would like to start by clarifying something, very upfront. My wife has always complained, since my preceding speaker spoke about his wife. I feel the compelling need to take up my wife as well in this subject. Now, she has always complained that I'm a bit of a realistic, practical, and completely unromantic person. I tend to agree with her, which is why I find it even more bewildering as to the number of times my preceding speakers who were against the topic, and even some who are for the topic, referred to words like romanticism, heritage, nostalgia, so on and so forth. I would like to put forth on the table straight away that my arguments have nothing to do with romance or nostalgia or anything of that. It is purely based on the premise of what is embraced across the world as mass sustainable mobility. And therefore, I commence my arguments by everyone to re-look at the motion. Because I personally think the motion itself is flawed. The motion says that its tram routes in Kolkata need to be revised to manage pollution in the city. Now we're talking about two different things actually. We're talking about pollution in the city, which has a plethora of causes. Tram routes in Kolkata is a specific mass transit conversation. The death of trams or the revitalization of trams is not going to solve the problem of pollution in Kolkata. Taking from my preceding speakers both for and against what they have presented, I would therefore like to recontextualize this conversation today to a broader perspective as to what is the relevance and where do trams stand today in 2026 in the framework of what we call multimodal mass transit for modern cities and especially for a congested city like Kolkata. Now, the disadvantage of coming in to speak at number 5 is that most of your constructed speech has already been robbed in parts and pieces. And a lot of what your opponents say gives you a lot of opportunities for rebuttals. So I'm sadly going to have to leave most of my carefully constructed document and rely on the absurdities and fallacies of what several speakers have presented in their arguments against this. So therefore, coming back, mass mobility, fact. Unfortunately, what has happened is that there's been some kind of misplaced paralysis and a complete khichdi mass transit between the governor of our city, the administration, the KMC, the Calcutta Traffic Police, the KMDA. So everyone works in their own disjointed little silos. Ma'am, you have to give me more time. Little silos. Ma'am, you have to give me more time. There's so much to listen to, so I have to present more. Yeah. So everyone's gone about building flyovers here and there which lead to nowhere or create more traffic jams. Think of the number of flyovers in Kolkata which have caused more traffic jams rather than solve a problem. Look around your city and you'll be shocked. Then it's often talked about, trams take up a lot of road space. What are you talking about? 80s and 90s? The entire tram network was relayed between 2004 to 2010-12. Devashish is mistaken. And of course, there were some proponents of tram activists who were against that also, but I put that to rest. By doing that, the entire tram network of the city got de-reserved. So road space occupation by trams is no longer a point. The question is, what do we mean by revitalization of tram network? Revitalization of tram network broadly has 2 or 3 things today, and it will cost less than 1/20th of the cost of replacing it with an electric bus network, for your kind information. For paucity of time, I'm skipping and making the statement. The argument would be best understood when you research it more. Number one is, rationalize in refurbished tram coaches, which had been done when the de-reservation got fiber body single coach trams, introduce them as a complementary feeder system to the metro stations, to the railway stations, and to the bus stands. Yeah. So trams are not history, it's not heritage, it is the present. We need to revitalize it to complement the future.
Well done. Terence, well done. You got us a bit in the alert mode in the beginning because there was a lot of whites coming into the debate. And I think, I was a little bit afraid that some of the debate may go on asking for revitalization of whites, rather than that. But I'm not putting ideas into your head. That can be a matter of the next debate. But fair enough. Have another model. Not nice. That would be very risky. Now, it's so important. I caught on to your thing about the flyovers causing traffic jams. We get into the dramatic moment. We've done it about 6 or 7 already during our transplant sessions. So when our operation tables are ready and going to go for a heart transplant, the heart arrives into the city. And it usually comes from about 5 times so far, the heart has come from a distant location. And the police and everybody is very helpful. So as the aircraft, India is the only country that uses commercial aircraft for transporting organs. Well, once I said it in an American meeting, the transplant surgeons over there, they are motivated. They all have dedicated aircrafts and all. So our hearts come in boxes as regular airline passengers. So in India, we have a box like this, labeled as the heart with a ticket. You have to buy a ticket for the heart. And it sits in a seat. So that is well and fine. The heart landed, came to London. So police were very helpful. So I was telling them, I told them repeatedly, looking at the Google Maps, that do not take the Mao flyover. Because if you ever stuck over there, so in concept, everything is on high adrenaline. The pilot was so charged up, he was flying from Patna, he left 2 passengers behind. So as soon as the heart ended up in the plane, he got so charged up, he left 2 passengers behind and took off. Because we have all of 3 hours to put the heart into the patient. But exactly what he said, that thing happened. We had cautioned him that if you get into the Mao flyover, be very careful that whether you are stuck. We were royally stuck, and we were actually delayed by 25 minutes from normal transit time. So all this green corridor and all changed into a red corridor in no time. But fortunately, we did it. So we are a witness to the fact. So whenever we have evening transport of organs right now, I'm very fearful.
So they had a transplant case in Bangalore where they used the metro with the heart.
Yeah, Bangalore it usually takes a month to cross in Kolkata we calculate in hours.
So they carried it in.
Yeah, they carried it in exactly. In Bangalore did have a transplant. That was quite right. That was carried in the metro. We do get stuck like this because since our private air transport system, because private planes have a notorious habit of crashing. So in trying to save 1 patient, you don't want to do 5 lives. So that is a very basic mathematics. That's the way to go. Terence, you made your point, very well researched, and we wish it could give you some more time, but I would be accused of bias, you know why.
Yes.
So following Terence is Siddhartha.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is my first inter-school debate at the ripe age of 55. And hence, let me invoke the lines that were taught to us in class, that how do you start a debate? You start by saying, respected chairman, sir, chairwoman, ma'am, honorable judges, members of the jury, members of the house, my worthy opponents, etc. I mean, that was what was taught to us. Now, as I said, I'm 55, and a person of my vintage typically has a lot of issues retaining his position at the workplace. Yeah, there are younger people who kind of steal their thunder, etc., etc. And being at number 5, I actually saw many of my and most of my points being taken over by much younger speakers. And therefore, my heart was in my mouth, and I was looking at Dr. Sharkar over and over again. Would I need his help in a very different way today? But nonetheless, ironically, I stand to speak today as a turnaround professional to speak against the motion that tram routes in Kolkata need to be revitalized to manage pollution in the city. Now, I call it ironical because growing up as a boy in the mid-70s in a small town of Pune, my arduous train journeys to Calcutta every summer held forth the romance of the railways. At one point in time, I wanted to become an engine driver. And the joy of being able to ride in what was then a big city marvel, Calcutta's trams. It used to be called Calcutta then. But yes, in today's debate, let me break down the motion into smaller parts. The first part is tram routes in Calcutta. My question to the motion is, where are the tram routes? There are just 2 routes where trams ply regularly. Route 25, Chambers to Esplanade and vice versa. Route 5, Route 25, Gorehat to Esplanade and vice versa. And one that does not ply very regularly, used to be my favorite, 2429, Tollygunge to Ballygunge and vice versa. So these 2.5 routes, if I may call them, cover a total of 15 kilometers one way. Let us contrast that with the 70s when there used to be 52. This came down to 25 in 2015. So now we're just talking about 2.5 routes. The second part of the motion is they need to be revitalized. Now, where are the vital signs to revitalize? Well, if we look at the asset side, I've already dwelt upon the disappearance of tram routes. Many of the defunct lines remain embedded on the roads, attracting many exclamations of anger and ridicule every time they make surface transport bumpier than usual. Any revitalization exercise would require creation of exclusively demarcated and, very importantly, enforced tram routes. Extremely challenging in a city that has only about 6% road space. Places like Bombay and Delhi have a lot more. On the liability side, Calcutta Tramways last made a profit in 1966. And a 358 crore loss in 2002 actually shocked policymakers. They shouldn't have been shocked, actually. And the third thing is about mindsets. Calcutta Tramways did not fail because it lost money. It failed because losses were allowed to grow without correcting the operating environment. Tramways were never, policymakers tended to see trams as heritage or legacy burden, an old system waiting to be replaced, and obstacles to road space. In cities where trams thrive, and there are multiple cities across the globe, the philosophy has been invest early to arrest decline. In Kolkata, unfortunately, the thinking seems to have been disinvest until the decline proves itself. Kolkata lost the tram not because the courts or the cabinets opposed it, but because the state never spoke of it as though the state truly believed in it. And thirdly, the third point in this debate is managed pollution in the city. Yes. Prima facie, yes, if Kolkata's trams had the luxury of enlightened policy making, targeted development, execution, and evaluation, this could have been a slightly less polluted network. However, the heavy lifting cannot be done by trams, but by a much larger electric vehicle ecosystem. After all, our road length is about 1,850 kilometers, and I did say the trams are only servicing a max of 15 kilometers. So therefore, trams are only a small part of the larger electric vehicles and greener vehicles ecosystem. The system needs to play its role, much like the Okkohini Senas that we had during the Mahabharata. So, having said all this, if I were to sum up, the questions that come to mind, summing up, are where is the road space for trams? Much of the land is already getting divested. Who would risk the political wrath during large-scale construction and affecting existing bus and auto unions? Given our notoriety in Konomote Kore, sustainability will always be an issue. Political and policy flip-flop. Stand here as a realist to declare that the motion in its original does not pass muster. However, the eternal optimistic, I must phrasing it to declare that the role of trams in Calcutta needs to be reimagined if they are to play any meaningful role in reducing or managing pollution in the city. When, where, by whom is a matter of another debate. Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case.
Siddhartha, well done, Siddhartha. And you really introduced a lot of new spectrum analysis into the topic. I wish, time permitting, if you could look at the structure of the company, that the evolution of Calcutta Tramways as a company, as a holding, as a corporate entity, because the story runs not very dissimilar to what is called, it's a very cruel analogy, but the analogy is that of the African malnutrition syndrome. Colonial powers allow pockets of Africa to fall into desperate malnutrition, and that desperate malnutrition becomes a showcase for breastfeeding for the next 30 years in front of the world, and you muster more money from the Western colonies, saying that people have been malnourished. Actually, they have not been fed. Today you have these figures going around. I don't know, I think Devashish Babu will tell us later on that you run a deficit of some 300 rupees per kilometer or something like that to run this thing that has been harassment. But very, very well said, your analysis. I think some later stage, the problem does not end with the debate. Our awareness starts with the debate. So I think at some stage we can make inquiries into, because everything depends upon the wholesomeness of the corporate entity. Okay. Because I do not see in the near future, like a lot of Kunnashri and other projects, because Bengal doesn't depend on planning, it depends on benefits. So on that note, the last team.
On the Tram Nupani Vidyalaya, so calling upon Abhishek Tapadia.
I think to be fair, just allow a minute, one of our judges has excused himself. Yeah. You can do a bit of a net practice there.
Absolutely.
Take careful, not easier. Yeah.
Should I start? What the double-decker bus is to London, the tram is in Kolkata. I am Abhishek Tapadia from Tram Nupani Vidyalaya, representing my Nupani Alumni Association. So, good afternoon to my fellow speakers, moderators, judges, and thanking Our Lady Queen of the Mission School for having us at this intellectual meet. As we know, being last has its own advantages and disadvantages. Most of my points are already taken. Since I don't have a wife yet, I still have few points left in my arsenal, and this one comes from my heart. So, starting with, since air pollution is a silent killer and sometimes it reaches around 200 to 300 AQI range, and one of the main causes is transportation. Other than the industries, and the best way to curb is the use of EV. But hey, Kolkata already had its own very EV named Tram, which was the oldest in Asia and launched in 1873, which we all know. And it was a horse-drawn carriage and later electrified in 1902. Even the Bombay tram closed in 1964, so this is the only surviving thing in Calcutta. A 150-year-old legacy. Calcutta and its heritage are so much phenomenal that even founding father and the very first Prime Minister of Singapore, everyone have their own individual cars. Tram being a cheap, best, family-friendly, and almost accident-proof for passengers, and reaching place where even buses can't. Let me get you some fun facts. All the good things, oldest, unique infras were launched in Calcutta first, and the whole India and the world adopted later. Just like we have. So not going to bother with all the statistics as they are already mentioned. Kolkata, or our lovely Calcutta, should be the heritage city of the world and should love it to be termed as a UNESCO heritage for our tram, which is running in Europe, Asia Pacific, North and South America, Africa, and famously called trolleys or streetcars. Even the first world countries still have it, who have more GDP income and the latest infras. So why can't we have it? And they still manage the population and pollution. One of the best, safe, cheap, and family-friendly, and spacious and quick travel medium in its time. And if I remember, I used to pay around $1 or $2. It has a first class and second class kind of bogies. And now it's around like 3 or 5 where it still runs in Calcutta. And it had all the interconnected routes in Kolkata. And for rebutting, I'll just do it in a consolidated manner to all. We can still revitalize it by making them modern without converting its soul. The EV cars we have, they still fail, and the 150 years history of tram, it never failed. We can re-engineer them with newer engines, less noise, more speed, installing ACs, which we already have in some rakes. And we can also install some solar panels on the roof to make it more environmental friendly. It can be used as a fun ride and book for the birthday parties, joy trips, and even a cafe can be open inside, and a tour of Calcutta, just like a Darjeeling city train. A joyride for kids, it can be used to attract people from all walks of life for celebrating and making it par with new times. It was indeed a family car. And ending it, I'll just say, trams aren't just wheel on tracks, they are memory which will stay and echo in the heart of us all Calcuttans. Thank you.
Thank you, Abhishek. You know, Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore and Kolkata go back a long way. You know where the GPO building is? Yeah, Dalhousie GPO. Look at the house adjacent to GPO. The building adjacent to GPO, which at various times, and it used to be a koila shop once, then it became a couple of pawn shops later. I don't know what happens now there, probably some delivery or butter toast is sold from there. That was the house from where Singapore was governed. For more than 40 years, Singapore was a part of the presidency of Kolkata. And Lee Kuan Yew actually visited and went through the roads because it was both the principalities of Malaysia and Singapore was a part of presidency of Bengal. And that is the building. For more than 4 decades, from that building, from Kolkata, Singapore, then an old, dying, neglected fishing village with a lot of opium addicts. So that place used to be administered from there. So Kolkata and Singapore go a long way back. Well done, well spoken. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, respected judges, moderators, my fellow participants and audience. I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. This one line sums up today's debate. This is the famous quote from Abraham Lincoln. Even to imagine tram as an active source of transportation, considering the city of Kolkata, the situation right now, it's a utopian dream to me. Let me take an analogy. How many of you started your first mobile one? In 2013, Nokia CEO Stephen Elop tearfully accepted we didn't do anything wrong, but we lost. And he meant he didn't keep pace to the which were required to be made, and subsequently Nokia obsolete. Now let me have an interesting analogy again. Since Mr. Sarkar is from medical background, I'll take a brief minute. One of my staffs had an issue at his heart. He couldn't afford a proper treatment, and he had to be put a pacemaker in his heart to survive. But he had no. Even we went to Rabindranath Tagore. It's a very famous hospital here. They provide care. So the option which was given to me for my staff that they will use a used pacemaker so that he can survive. Normally, 99% of people won't do that. They would rather want to go for a new pacemaker which gives a warranty. But considering the limited resources we had, we agreed to that option. It's been 15 years that guy is living healthy. What I mean by this is, same problem can have same solutions in different places. Jaisa des, vaisa bhes. When in Rome, be as Romans. The problem of pollution which we are facing right now in Kolkata cannot be compared to problem of pollution elsewhere in developed world and economies. They might have better ways to handle it. We have to handle it within our resources. And we need to take care of the fact that Kolkata is a congested city. We have limited resources. One of my gentlemen said that cars are already traveling at a speed of 20 to 30 kilometers. So what's the problem with trams? I strongly object to it. We are looking at ways to increase the speed of car, do the traffic management. We cannot make it as a benchmark that trams works at 20, 30 kilometers, so it is acceptable. I don't think that should be the case. However, I strongly feel there are more ways to prevent pollution without going into the hassle of expanding trams. This has to be done by a more civic sense. We are doing more carpooling. We try to use maximum public transportation. We also try to walk and cycle as and when required. Of course, modern EVs contribute this to a lot. Revitalizing tram routes right now is a nostalgic dream. I know it has been conveyed many times, but let's not get caught in the romance of the past. Trams are slow, they congest traffic, they are not financially viable solution for the modern urban mobility. Also, let's not dwell on the relics from the past. Let's invest in efficient transportation system so that we can come up with a faster and peaceful, smoothly flowing traffic in Kolkata, which is a prerequisite for smooth life. Thank you so much.
Thank you, very well spoken. And we are ever so happy that rather ingenuously the pacemaker problem was solved. But I don't know whether you can draw a direct comparison with the transportation in India or not. The healthcare access situation in India is at a very funny phase. If you belong to the last 20% of the Indian population right now, it depends which statistics you believe in. India's multidimensional poverty right now stands at around 11%, if I'm not mistaken. But in our socio-economic stratification, if you're in the last 20%, you may not get your next meal, but you will get a pacemaker. Right. So the pain in the heart is more readily solved than the spasms of hunger, because hunger is not protected. but because of many health schemes, and if that is a good part of it. So I think the next part of the policy will be giving food and treatment both at the same time. I think that is how what you call progress, rather than progress happening as interrupted parallels. Very well spoken. And I think Preeti will now request the rebuttal from the first team.
So what was the Tram? No. Because he spoke for. Because he spoke against, right?
I think we had the last vote.
Yes, yes.
So that's why for.
Yeah.
Only 2 minutes. I think 2 minutes. Be a bit generous. Give them 90 seconds, because reading will take away about 30 seconds. If you speak for 1 minute, 30 seconds is breathing time.
Okay, and maybe the other
For oxygen or carbon dioxide exchange. So, okay. Start.
Good afternoon to everyone once again. After listening to all my opponents, I'll keep my rebuttal points brief and concise. So a number of them mentioned that how trams, probably revitalizing them is not a good option. But what I feel strongly is that trams inherently did not fail us. The policies and probably the effort that we did not take failed the system overall. Some of them mentioned about how metros are efficient in terms of speed, in terms of the schedule, in terms of availability. Me, I also have my co-speaker is Mansi Sangvi Bhayani, who's also my boss at my workplace. She will know very well how often we get the message in the WhatsApp group, running late due to metro delays. Therefore, along with that, it brings up to the other point of congestions. A lot of my co-speakers mentioned that how trams take up space, how narrow the streets are. But trams, again, inherently don't take up the space in the sense that spaces are more taken by private cars. Streets in British India were designed specifically to ensure that trams can pass through them. What creates congestion is the rising number of private vehicles. This brings me to my third point of pollution that might occur as a result of the construction work that might happen due to the revitalization of trams.
You've got to wind up.
Okay. The revitalization of trams, which might cause the pollution, creates only short-term pollution rather than compared diesel and other forms of transport that are there. To sum it up all, I still strongly feel that trams should be revitalized to manage the pollution, because in the end, I'll use a very cliched phrase, old is gold. Thank you.
Thank you, Parliamentary. And even though you revealed it at the fag end of proceedings, it takes a very brave person to be debating against his or her boss. Our best wishes are with you, and do let me know on Monday if you have still kept your job. Well, in case there are a lot of prosperous people in the audience, should you be in dire need. It's again a very contentious exercise now how to calculate unemployment. By definition, most doctors are unemployed.
I risk that statement because I stay 7 minutes away from the...
Right, do let me know on Monday. I wish you well. Mansi, the floor is yours. Thank you.
How many of us here have used the tram to travel regularly? Can we please have a show of hands? On a regular basis? Lovely. How many of us use it today? Since Uber, Ola, motos, cabs. Exactly. Exactly. Why are the roots not there? The roots are not there. And the people want to look for growth. They want to have a personal car. They want to buy a personal bike. They want to do.
No, you don't have to.
It's not a parliament.
You don't have to respond,
It's a debate.
Unanimous. Please remember, this is what I said in the Deshputrika debate last evening, that unanimous agreement is a disease. So all arguments like a married man. You pretend to argue, but necessarily listening and agreeing are two different phenomena. So those of you who haven't married, don't marry now. It's maybe a bit too late in the day, but you don't have to agree with her. What's the problem? Listen to her. That's why we are here. Universal agreement, is a disease. You need to see your shrink for that. Carry on. Thank you.
Thank you. So people do not use them for a reason that the population of Kolkata in itself, we all also want to grow. We also want our infrastructure to grow. And be honest or not, I would want to buy a car for my family and travel trips. I would want to have a bike. I also would want to ensure that people around me do use public transport, but I give them enough wages that they can also have a good standard of living like any other metropolitan. Signing off, Mansi Sangvi Bhayani, a psychologist, which is why I didn't mention a few points.
Thank you, Mansi. There may be some potential customers for you later on in the week. Very well spoken. Thank you. No, I think we have finished our round of speaking well in time. Very well done. And this is a kind of debating which is outside the big debates, the exhibition debates. Winter somehow happens to be a time of debating in argumentative Kolkata. We concluded in January what was perhaps the largest public debate ever held in India, with 2,500 people on Hindutva. We did a large debate yesterday on Décor on Bangalis. But this is a kind of debate, what you call parlor debating, where these people, youngsters, alumni of various walks of life across age groups, we have come over to speak, discuss, as I said, not necessarily to agree, You can agree to disagree with a lot of elegance. Should teach us today. So extremely well done. On a topic that is contemporary, on a topic that is relevant, on a motion that evokes passion from either side. So very well done. And as a vested interest announcement, do take our numbers, myself, Pradeep, not for any other ulterior motive, we are a bit too old for that. But the question is, we are shortly starting a speakers club, where rather than being aggressive, being nefarious, and this verbal bloodletting, we want people to form speaking clubs, get together once or twice a month, have parlor discussion, debates, etc. amongst one another, right? So it is an attempt to behave like civilization all over again. And all of you, without exception, extremely well spoken. And as I said, the consequences of which team won and who was given the first prize will be a private settlement between you and the judges after the debate, because by that time I would have left. I have a flight to catch, and the reason I'm getting to Delhi is because I principles. So keep me. And I'm speaking to them on challenges of technology. So being a half-educated plumber, speaking to 200 school principals on challenges of technology, I will have most of my neurons exhausted by tomorrow evening, and I wish to be, if necessary, carried on a stretcher on the way back, because otherwise I have a long operating list waiting for me on Tuesday. I will be sadly out of job, and the Queen of Missions has not promised me any vacancies for the coming month. So extremely well done, extremely well done. And such a lot of research. I share the difficulty. It happens to be all the male members on this side. That was not our making. But yes, by the time you all came on, most of your points have probably been spoken. That is a difficulty when you debate in a non-team format. But you put up a fantastic show, and very well done, all of you. Please keep up this habit, because the more we speak, the more we articulate. Because as you see, yesterday even somebody was speaking, and people started shouting. I said, "Are you mad or what? Don't even pretend to argue with everything, agree with everything. Mass agreement, starting from Jesus Christ to Gandhi. Nobody agreed with everyone at every point, any state of civilization. That phenomenon is unknown. But great done, and we appreciate the effort, sister. You, your alumni team, all of you have put up, and keep up this effort. And if we can be of any help to you occasionally, we will. Like, no, please keep it up, because the thing basically is persistence. The thing basically is persistence. And I have one thing, that we in the current era tend to behave as if, speaking sense and nonsense has been a monopoly of the political class. That should it never be. The power of articulation should come back to civil society. We will, and we will do it in our own way. So it's been a fantastic debate. And those of us who've listened to it, I think we have learned a lot, though on a topic that we thought about. We experience problems very often, but you have taken us through a journey which has dissected the motion in every sense, both for and against. We don't for a minute believe that any of you actually believed everything in what you said. Because after all, as the great Churchill once said, debating is the supreme act of intellectual dishonesty. For all of 5 minutes, it is. Today, because you probably have spoken for 5 minutes, something, we do it all the time. But on this occasion, you've done it very formally, but you did it very well. But in due course, you researched, you told us a lot. So those of us in this pretty homely, manageable group present over here, those of you who opine with the opposition, who do not see the need for the revitalization of Calcutta's tram networks, which started in 1902-3. Great time in Calcutta's history. It's not tram networks. What is happening in 1902? Unishulan Swamina is coming up. Maniktola bomb case is happening. Remember Kolkata of that era. History is not unidimensional. A lot is happening in our lives all around. So a transport revolution comes at a phase when the first sparks of Indian freedom struggle are being lit in the city. Great times. But those of you who would believe that the revitalization, it is not necessary to kind of put more resources in it, it is not needed. Those of you who agree with the opposition, please, let's have a show of hands. Can somebody help us to count? Please put your hands up. Those who are not. We have one tedious hand, a bit hesitant. Two.
So could you just repeat the question to the audience?
Those of you who would want to vote for the opposition. Who is the opposition? People who have argued that revitalization of the tram network is not needed, not a priority. Put your hands up. We have one.
There is someone in the back.
He's opposition.
Well, you will. Thank you. So, now we come to the obvious vote, unless there are a lot of notas sitting over here, that those of you who would believe, given the difficulties, given the problems, revitalization of the lost glory of Calcutta's tram network is desirable, put your hands up. Now that is a resounding majority. That is a resounding majority. So the House has given a very clear, unambiguous verdict. And let me ask for all of you, all of us who have learned, who have listened, who have thought about it today, let in our own way, if we sincerely believe in this, then let it not evaporate from public conscience 5 minutes after the debate has ended. This is not fashion, this is public celebration. So if the public celebration has to continue, all of us in our own way, let's try and make a little difference. Thank you to the alumnus. We enjoyed the debate as much as you do.
Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to remain seated while we collect the tabulation sheets from the judges. Tutu, if you can please collect the sheet. Dr. Sarkar will be leaving us now because he has to catch a flight. And I request Preeti Roy Chowdhury. Please, ma'am, if you can continue with the rest of the proceedings.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Debashish will be addressing us right now. Will everyone kindly take their seats? Requesting the professor to kindly come to the podium. Thank you, Dr. Sarkar. Thank you so much. A big round of applause for Dr. Sarkar. Really lucky to have him here.
We will schedule Hasan's number. You are here now, no? Slight bias, if you don't mind. Picture which is very nice. Go back. Exactly.
May I request, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated so that we can continue with the program. I request all of you to be seated, please. Thank you. While we are waiting, I request everyone to be seated, please. Participants, please be seated. Please sit down. Participants, please sit down. We have Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya, President of Calcutta Tram Users Association, and we request him to please address the gathering. And if you have any questions to ask him, you may do so.
Thank you, madam. First of all,
silence because now we have the Q&A session led by Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya, the President of Calcutta Tram Users Association. I'm sure he'll enlighten us and he'll also clear our doubts and queries.
first of all, we congratulate those participants who spoke in favor of the trams, and we condemn those who spoke against us. We are ready to answer any question against the tramways. We are well equipped for that. The main reason why the tramways has been revitalized, it is a global phenomenon. The main reason is economic. Unless this is economically viable, the questions of air pollution, noise pollution, decongestion, they do not arise. And if a review of the tramways revival is searched for, it is observed that across the continents, across the economic condition of the countries, like European countries are very rich, while the South American countries, their economic conditions are like ours. Everyone, without exception, they have adopted the tramways as the public transport system of their mega cities. So clearly, unless it is economic, this. I further explain it that consider a graph which has an x-axis and y-axis, The buses, they require very little investment and their efficiency is very poor. Their lifespan is short and the quality of service is not up to date. In contrast, metro has very high efficiency, but its cost of construction is enormously high. There is a large gap. So in the buses, they are near the, and whereas the metro, they stand near the points written debate like that. There is a huge gap in the people's mobility. Calcutta has the advantage that we have everything which we is minimum as compared to the metro lines. It is entirely the political and it is the corruption that leads to such a destructive solution. If the tramways is dismantled, decommissioned, then the first question will arise, what will be the utility of the tram depots? There is no tram, so there is no tram depots are required, and those will be sold out. The process is already on, like in Taliganj or Kalighat, Belgachia, Khidirpur, there are parts of the lands has been sold out, which is illegal because in a city, land cannot be created. If the land is lost, then you cannot reconstruct another tram depot or public transportation bus depot in the city because you cannot create land. In contrast, in Bangalore or elsewhere, the State Transport Authority, they created high-rise building over the tram or bus depots, maybe 10 or 20 storied. The ground floor is free for movement of the buses or trams. And the earning which they get from the renting of the upper stories, these are used for the subsidy of the run operation of the cars. So there is no loss, nothing. In here, the exact ground level land is sold to the real estate promoters, and everybody understands what procedures. We can address any question against the tramways. For example, there are people considering that trams are congestion. We have some 10 to 15 lakhs of vehicular traffic which is registered in Calcutta, or they are entering into the city from the neighboring sites. Those cars are parked. So most of the roads which are for movement of the vehicles has already been choked by vehicles. Now tell me, how many tram cars are parked on the roads? Tram cars are moving, so they are never creating any traffic congestion. Secondly, the road space. When one person is traveling by a car, imagine the volume of the car, the space occupied by it, and for every 10 kilometer of speed, one car distance ahead of the car and in the back, it should be free. So therefore, 20 to 30 kilometers of speed, you need 3 road space of cars free for your movement. This is the minimum requirement for movement of one passenger. How much road space is occupied, he or she is using. In a tram, during the crash load, about 150 passengers are accommodated. In fact, all over the world, where the road space is limited, there is a high density of population and there is a congested area. Trams are the best mode of public transport because you don't need a car. You can hop on, hop off, anywhere. People like it because that in the tram all over the world, any crime against any women are running on the street. These are passengers, so the women, they feel very safe and there is no record of crime. So there are many advantages of tramways. It improves the quality of the city. It creates a positive image of the city. And whenever a existing tram system is dismantled, it proves that the authority they have no stability or belief on the growth of the city. This is against the positive image of that city. So in summary, I have told you that it starts from corruption and ends in corruption in case of Calcutta. So it is not only, the line is almost similar to the order placed by the Chief Justice of Calcutta High Court that tram routes in Kolkata need to be revitalized to manage. He mentioned a number of points, not only pollution. It is decongestion, your safety, your quality of life, it is the poverty index, people's system for traveling, it is very cheap, etc., etc. So pollution is one point, air and noise pollution, but there are other at least 7 to 8 major points that qualifies a tram service to exist. And regarding pollution, since this is emphasized here, the EV, electrical vehicles, they require the batteries. The batteries are very expensive and they have a limited lifespan. And when they are not rechargeable, they are thrown into the garbage. There are lithium ions and these are extremely polluting components. I asked one of our tramway enthusiasts from Germany that they have large number of electrical vehicles. We asked that how you dump the unused batteries. They said that we send it to third world countries. So you understand that a system which has no end polluting component like the tramways, it should be adapted. And we have all the infrastructure, all tram tracks. We don't need any major investment in it. It is very simple. Tram cars are there, the workshop is there. And the citizens are accustomed with. It is only the political willingness that can revive this tramway system. Thank you very much. We appreciate any kind of question. We have the WhatsApp and other contact forms, and we can answer to all your questions in favor or against the tramways. Thank you. You have any question? Yes. You can answer now.
May I request all participants and members of the audience, if you have any questions to ask, please do so. Anyone?
What is the present status of the legal battle you are fighting against the government? I just want to know.
It is a common practice for the government of West Bengal that whenever you go to the High Court, then single bench to double bench, then they go to the Supreme Court. Now the matter has been sent to Supreme Court, and we are surprised that the tramways is such a small item for a state, and Supreme Court, it has been raised to the status of Supreme Court for a judgment. It is very unusual. Anyway, when it goes to the Supreme Courts and for the hearing, there is dates after dates, there is delayed. The government is taking this advantage that by that time, many of the employees will retire and they are not allotting any money to procure the spare parts. So now cannibalism is being done to operate the trams. So after maybe 6 months or 1 year, there will be, service will be very difficult. So these are all planned operations of the state government, and the High Court which appointed
Important, to say it more loudly. Number one, the government of West Bengal has for the last 5 years lied to the courts. To the courts, Devashish Da knows exactly what I'm
in many
saying.
times.
On 7, lied to the court. So imagine when the Calcutta gave a scripture saying that no tram route, no tram network will be uprooted, section of the Kerala tram route, which happens to be in front of the mayor's house. I'm not making any political suggestions, I'm just saying what is the fact. A section of the Calcutta tram route which plies in front of the mayor's house, after the High Court order, is lain over with a coating of bitumen. Then the CTUA and others go to complain to the police. And what happens is the High Court order, you cannot do this. So now, lo and behold, mysteriously, the Calcutta Municipal Corporation does not know who has laid over the road with bitumen. But the only agency in Kolkata which does it is Kolkata Municipal Corporation itself. Okay, so that's one. The other is, there are stories. Several ministers, transport ministers, have said things like, we will restore 7 routes, or we will restore specific routes before Durga Puja next year. Ma Durga has come and gone the last 7 years. Forget about restoring the routes, more routes were shut down. And the third supposedly operational route is 24/29, Tollygunge to Gadiat. The reason why it is lying shut for more than 2 years is because there is a 10-meter stretch of track. When the KMC did some waterways, water
watch
work, they said we are just temporarily stopping the tram so that we can rehabilitate the drainage and then restore the line. So the line got supposedly restored after the drainage work, but there's an undulation in 10 meters of the track at Mutiali. For the last 1.5 years, the Calcutta Municipal Corporation and the Transport Department have not restored 10 meters of tracks.
Yes.
Not kilometers, 10 meters of tracks, saying that they don't know how to do it. And no contractor, very, very strange because we are in a city of contracts and syndicate cuts. But no contractor apparently, after 150 years of Calcutta tramways, there is no contractor in the state of West Bengal suddenly who has the technical expertise to restore that 10 meters of tracks. So it is completely a conspiracy, and there is economic corruption at the heart of the demise of the Calcutta tramways. What my worthy opponents have argued about why it should be removed are technical and transport reasons, which I respect. We can argue about that, but endemic corruption at a policy-making level, we know what is happening, and there's nothing we can do about that, except for CTU fighting in the Calcutta High Court.
Sir, one thing I would like to add, indeed, definitely we believe that we all are believe advocating for the trams is definitely good for the city, and advocating for the trams has become a religion for many of us. That's true. Keeping in mind that, I would like to say another thing, that politics in Kolkata has its own compulsion, and there is huge unemployment problem, huge unemployment issue. In Kolkata, trams, how many people are recruited there? For many years there is no recruitment. The kind of problem tramways are facing today, similar problem is going to face our buses, government-owned buses, because they also don't receive any funds for buying fuels, maintaining those buses, and so on and so forth. Things are happening. And now in this scenario, what is happening? Kolkata has oddly 430 or 450 auto routes. And if I consider that there are 200 autos at least in every route, it is the number goes up to 90,000. So as every auto rickshaw, 90,000 auto rickshaws are there roughly, and every auto rickshaw are run by 2 or 3 drivers in different shifts. So just imagine the quantum of the employment auto rickshaw is generating. Now, keeping in mind this compulsion, which political party will come ahead and think that which are the progressive means to take our city ahead, where we can eradicate this problem of pollution and other things. Everybody has to think for both their support and all these things. What kind of sustainable solution we can offer against this problem of unemployment?
Any further questions?
I want to add a point. It's also like a question. Is that I've been to Kerala, Ernakulam, which many of us know about, like in Kochi, most of us know by its name. So I went there, and the Kerala government are trying to introduce a tram service in that city. And the reason they gave is that the structure of the city doesn't allow to build a metro network. The metro network is only feasible up to 3 to 4 corridors. But what about the alleys? So if in near future, and there are some talks going on for introducing tram services in Bengaluru, Mumbai, Delhi, and some other cities also. So if in near future they introduce a tram system and advanced tram systems in some other parts of our country, then it will be a tight slap on our Kolkata's pride. So what my point is that actually I personally also told you, many of all of our members are present here, that we have no political solution. The only solution is that we, the citizen of Kolkata, should come and fight and to pressurize every political parties so that our demands gets fulfilled.
Thank you.
Okay, there is one extension of our discussion that metro railway is very fast, but metro railway is a corridor, not south or east-west. And a tramway, as it stands in Calcutta, it is a network. A corridor and a network has a huge difference. Using a network, you can start from any point and reach any point. And for metro railways, it is not accessible to every people. For example, in Jutindas Park, we have to step up 54 stairs to reach the surface. With your luggage and at this age, sometimes we have to avoid it. For trams, it is very easy because it is operating on the surface. That's why its operating cost is very low. In metro railway, for earning 100 rupees, subsidy is 300 rupees. So when you consider that there is investment and money, metro railway absorbs much more money than it is required by a bus or a tram. These facts and figures are usually kept hidden by the authority so that people remain at dark.
As regards generation of employment, as has been asked by someone else right now, I point out here that by revitalizing the tram routes in Kolkata and by redirecting the public transport system itself as a whole, we can generate optimal employment. And there is no question of living outside ambit of employment. And we can, yes, we can. If we utilize the tram depots, as has been expressed by our president, I am a proud member of CTUA. In many depots, we can employ their very mechanism by which the floors that are constructed upstairs, we can employ many people there. Not only that, auto rickshaw operators are leading a very insecure life. Whenever they are able to operate, they are getting paid, and whenever they are not in service or unable to operate autos, they are out of service and they don't get any money or wage. So, if public transport system is revitalized, especially trams, then many people will get employed and employment problem will get a very reasonable solution. I think is my strong opinion. Thank you.
Ma'am, can we?
Thank you.
Can we have the ceremonies?
Yes.
So that we can leave whomever need to
Yes,
leave.
I understand. Thank you very much, Dr. Vivekananda.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
May I now request Sister Mercy to please give away the participation certificates. Ms. Mansi Sanghi. Ms. Parmanti Gupta. Ms. Alokananda Sengupta. Ms. Temina Reyes. Ms. Farheen Ahmed. Ms. Alifia Akhtar. Mr. Amiruzzaman. Mr. Subik Chakravarti. Mr. Terence Mandel. Mr. Siddharth Ghosh, Mr. Manish Chanda, Mr. Abhishek Taparia. Thank you, sister. Thank you so much. May I now request Shoma to please announce the results.
So now we come up with what did, and we just collated it, and we come out for the one of the most important thing about a competition. So I know everybody is waiting with bated breath. Preeti, our moderator, please come here to give away the prizes. Since the other moderator is not there. I'm sorry, I can't help because the results say that the runner-up speaker is from the host school, Vivekananda. Don't think that I'm going backwards, that's right. So one alumni handing over to another alumni. It's a great honor to hear this. Please, March 18th of the school. Thank you.
Please, can I have all the alumni? This is the first time.
Best speaker, Shubhi Chakraborty of DBPC. Thank you, Preeti. Sister, we would like you to give away the best school. St. Xavier's Collegiate School, Kolkata. So what, you all were 5th or 6th in the seating arrangement, but we saw that everything would be done very democratically. Thank you, sister. And to all the participants, as I always say, winning is good, you feel good for that moment. But most important is participation. And my request to all the participants who come from the different schools, next year we want you to come back. Please come back because we want to keep this alive and let the alumni also speak their voices. So what, they are not in schools yet. Okay? Just an important announcement. The Calcutta Tram Users Association, they have some bookmarks, postcards and calendars for sale. Those who are interested, those are all based on trams, so you may collect from them. Sir, you can come ahead. Thank you. Nasreen, please do the vote at times.
We would like to thank Dr. Kunal Sarkar and Ms. Preeti Roy Chowdhury, our moderators, for giving their valuable time to us. Our judges, Ms. Gulu Mukhopadhyay, Professor Abhijit Gupta, and Mr. Pradeep Guptu. We are very, very grateful for Dr. Debashish Bhattacharya for being present here today. We thank radio partner 99.9 FM Friends, our strategy partner TSMPRO.in, our creative partner Versus, our special partner, Swamina International and Elegant Affair. We thank Jadavpur University for very kindly allowing us to use their venue. We thank the technical staff and all and every single person who has made today's event, has made it happen. We are grateful to each one. Thank you. And 3 cheers for Queen of the Mission. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Thank you all.
Thank you. It's all responsibility. It's all because of them and doing.